Frizzi is a little mouse, small, actually very tiny. He was born in the deepest depths of a big city's sewer, but even as a tiny newborn he didn't accept his condition down in the dark. So Frizzi said to his mother, "I don't belong here and I'm leaving." It's so slowly, tube by tube, hole by hole, little by little Frizzi reached the surface. The world was different for them, full of light, fragrant, and filled with many new, interesting, and different stimuli. Accustomed as he was to always running, he also went fast on the surface. He was always running in the corner of the walls. Passing between sidewalks and manholes, holes and tiny holes, he arrived at a place that was magical for him. A tennis court. Frizzi didn't know tennis. In fact, he didn't know men either. He didn't know the sport. It can be said that he knew nothing. However, that tennis court, all fragrant with delicious things to nibble on, was truly a paradise. On those days in the very famous tennis court, a very important tournament was taking place, where the most famous tennis players competed against each other. During those morning hours, when no one else was around, one of the most famous and well-known champions in the world was training. Frizzi, just emerging from one of the many holes that only he, as a little mouse, could find, saw men in front of him. These people moved very quickly and made a lot of noise. Slightly frightened, he slipped into the furthest corner to observe and see what was happening. At that moment, however, the tennis champion decided he needed to take a break, so he went inside the locker room to refresh himself. The first match of the day was about to begin shortly. Suddenly, silence enveloped the entire tennis court. No noise, no sound, only a pleasant aroma of things to nibble. So Frizzi resumed his exploration, gradually approaching the various objects that were deposited near the net in the middle of the field. There was also a bag full of wonderful smells, a bag that was better to enter to understand. However, the bag was taken by the champion's assistant, and from that moment everything was a movement, a jump, an agitation. There was no more peace. Frizzi felt himself being moved and jostled in every direction. He no longer knew what to do, especially as the noises outside began to increase and become more and more annoying. What lovely scents, though, all those strange objects inside the bag that men call tennis rackets. They were too tempting, and so Frizzi started to chew. He chewed them all. They were too good, too tasty, too inviting. The tennis tournament began. The great champion was preparing to serve the first ball against the opponent. He raised his arm, sent the ball up into the sky, and hit the ball hard. But nothing happened. The racket string broke upon impact with the ball. Everyone in the audience started laughing, but for the champion there was nothing to laugh at. In fact, he almost felt like crying. All his rackets, the new ones, the old ones, and the spare ones, were all broken.